PJ Dumpling.
Hi everyone, this is Jade, PJ from PJ Dumpling.
Hi, Jay. Long
Nice to
time
meet
no
you
see.
again.
This is Dumpling of PJ and Dumpling. This is my good friend Bogdan. He just released a book being preserved by the library. I think it's quite impressive and interesting. So we're going to talk about this today. So Bogdan, tell us a
Congratulations!
little bit.
Thank you very much. It's a summary of all the Canadian metal and non-metal mining operations. And it was published by the Canadian Institute of Mining and Metallurgy. The reason it's come up now is I just delivered one copy of the book to the University of Mexico
Oh, cool.
during my trip to Mexico City.
Cool.
And while I was there, I was also able to meet with the Department of Mining, and we decided. Well, we're talking now about launching the next version of this book, which will be an update on the Canadian mines.
Wait. Then why is this book good enough to be in a library?
You don't have confidence in your friend?
Say to me, I don't know anything about mining. Like, why is this book?
I also question first, sorry. The mining we're talking about here is a real mining, like underground type of mining?
That's right. Not
like
not
a data mining,
sure,
because of tech background, so just
this is
to
like
clarify.
think of it as rare earth material mining stuff. Like
Okay.
real critical minerals.
Yeah, to our audience, I'm also the first time to meet our guest, so I may ask the same question for you guys.
Absolutely. Well, it's gold, copper, zinc, uranium, platinum minerals, basically all the metal and non-metal operations across Canada.
Cool.
Cool.
So what it talks about is the mining operations, the processing operations, refining, and it talks about what equipment is being used, who's working, what are the costs of the chemical.
Explain over to us why people trust Canadian mining technology or Canadian mining knowledge. What you spoke a little bit about TSX. Why is that relevant to the mining industry at large?
Yeah, well, the Toronto Stock Exchange in particular has a long history of financing mining investment. Probably up until about 10 years ago, 75% of the global mining investment came through Toronto.
Oh, wow.
So the largest mining companies in the world, the BHPs, the Rio Tintos, the Vale, they have a presence in Toronto in order to raise money here in Toronto. There is other resources now as well in the UK, definitely Australia and New York, and even a little bit in the German market. But long historical track record of bringing this here in Toronto. And so as a result, Canadian engineers have gone all over the world and are well respected for their technical abilities to do and develop mining projects all around the world. In my particular case, like I've worked on projects on the ground in Indonesia, Norway, Greece, throughout Canada and the USA, and continue to do so.
That's very interesting.
So are you a field engineer, or you are like more in operation side, or you do all the admin stuff?
So I started off as a metallurgical engineer in the field, like on the mine sites. And then that led to consulting engineering opportunities where I would design facilities, and then as well as going onto the site to do startups of facilities.
Startup.
Well, but we have to put things into perspective of what startup means in mining industry. Because startups what and I are familiar with are coders, programmers.
Yeah, like vibe coding.
And we can start with very low money, maybe 2 laptops. But in your case, maybe you can describe what the startup is like in your business.
And maybe I'll just take it a few steps earlier.
Sure.
So in the mining sector, you'll first have exploration being done. So a geologist goes out in the field, lives in a tent for the summer, goes and collects rocks from different areas that look interesting to him for a variety of reasons. He'll send them in for analysis. We call it assay. You're going to determine what's the value of the minerals in those rocks. What percentage presence do they have? And if it looks like an interesting deposit, they'll then start doing drill cores. They'll drill, imagine deep straws being sunk into the ground. And with those recovery of minerals that come out of those straws, they'll be able to develop an underground three-dimensional map in order to kind of map out what does that ore body look like. With that picture in mind, a mining engineer will come along and then say, okay, based on that kind of size ore body, I can extract it using an open pit mine or an underground mine, and these are what the costs are going to look like. And then where my field of expertise was, I would manage those processes, but more specifically, the processing, the extraction of those valuable minerals, the gold, the copper, the zinc.
How much money are we talking about generally?
Well, the projects could be like my biggest projects were $2-3 billion.
Okay.
To start up.
Yes.
And that's like when you got large iron operations, you can't do them on $100 million size because there's just not enough material there to make a proper revenue. On the gold, if it's a gold mine, it could be a $25-30 million project because there's so much value in the gold there. So some of the higher value metals, you can have smaller operations.
But Jay, isn't there like recently there's a AI startup company started by a woman. I have forgotten her name. She raised $2 billion on $10 billion valuation with no white paper, no pitch deck, no disclosure of what she's doing. Do you know this?
So vague. Just a woman and start a what kind of
Yeah. Well, if a listener of this podcast, maybe you can comment below and maybe this could be another about next time.
I just shared with James. I did a project in China as well, which is why he's interested.
Yeah.
do you always travel?
Yeah.
For your work?
Extensive. Yeah. In 2005 was my project in China. And there was the Canadian government identified me to do a project in northern China in Liaoning in the Dandong province.
Oh, okay. The northeast part of
where that
China.
is?
Of course. I went to university in province
really?
next to it. I went to Heilongjiang province. Harbin.
Okay, I didn't visit there.
Yeah, it's very close.
Well, there was a copper zinc mine where the owner asked for some assistance on how to improve the operations, but also on how to reduce dust control, how they're coming from the operations, both the mining and the smelter operations. And this is China before the Olympics in 2005. So they were very keen on how to reduce dust generally throughout the whole country. And so they had me come in to look at the operations, make some comments, improvements there. We looked at the zinc smelter operations. We also looked at a couple of other deposits, including a magnesium production facility. And magnesium was being used to make a cigarette paper. That was one of the materials.
I didn't know that.
It burns more slowly. So magnesium is used in that paper.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And as part of those activities, they had me do lectures to whole groups of individuals. And I was even interviewed on TV in China. So I was
you're famous in China then.
5-10 million people saw me on TV, more than in Canada.
Well, Jade is going to get you another 2 million people.
Oh,
maybe you can describe a little bit what you saw there when you look over the river to North Korea. Maybe you can tell a little bit of story about that. So they did. I wonder whether that's still true today or not.
Because there was still like you're walking along the river there, and I guess that was Dandong, or Dalian was in there as well. I'm not sure which of the villages it was, but it's one where you have a bridge crossing to North Korea. And as we're walking along the river, we saw on the other side of the river on benches and things, there were people in North Korea, smartly dressed, well done hair, smiling and waving to us.
From North Korea.
From North Korea. So you can see them in the river. And I was impressed by how things looked, and that it looked very different from what we had heard back home, generally. But then my tour guide or translator actually confirmed with me, don't believe everything you're seeing right now. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, take a look at what you see in their factories and the chimneys over there. What do you see? I see, it looks quiet. There's not much happening. And I look at our side, he says. And you look at the Chinese side, and there's smoke and there's factories operating and working and things are actually happening. He goes, yeah, that's the real picture, not what it looks like.
Did you take photos?
Lots of pictures, yeah.
Oh,
I was able. They let me take
interesting.
pictures. They didn't have any problem with that. And
Do you mean they
was,
were staging?
yeah, they were most likely staging. There was another situation as well. We ended up going to an area where the Wall of China starts. We are going to go walk along a section of the Wall of China there, and we came to the stairs, and then they said, "Okay, you have to wait a little bit till it's open." I said, "Open? Just go up the stairs, don't we? It's 9 o'clock. Why don't we just go?" No, we have to wait. So I said, "Okay, we'll wait." And then 9:30 comes around. Okay, now we can go. So we walk up the stairs, and we're walking along a little bit, and then from the other direction, there's these two men walking towards us, kind of almost running. They were tall, well tanned, well dressed. They come up to us, and it's almost as if they knew we would be there because they go, "Hello, we are from North Korea. Nice to meet you." And then they continued along. A little bit of that. So, and then later they took me to the American War Museum to continue with the discussions and talk a little bit. So we understood there was a little bit of
Acting?
communication exchange expected as part of this program.
Okay.
He works as a water pollution engineer. I don't know the title. Everywhere we travel, and he will also comment on all the water we've seen. He's like,
yeah.
"Oh, the water quality is like this," but I can talk a lot. I mean, for yourself, do you also have this kind of wherever you watch the rocks or the mountain in the nature? I want to say, and I try to figure out. Is it like kind of a habit to figure out how these rocks developed in the history and how it became is it kind of thing?
Yeah, I would say that. Like when we're traveling to Kingston, you see the limestone and the deposits there. Yeah, I'm kind of explaining to my family how the sedimentary rock formed and why it looks like this. Or we're in British Columbia and you see all the twists and turns of the sediments. That's always interesting to me because you're seeing millions and millions of years over a short image right there. So that has always been interesting to me. I remember as a young kid, as we were walking through the parks, I'd come back at the end of the trip with my pockets full of rocks and minerals I'd pick up. That was always my interest from being a little kid. So yeah,
That's
that
cute.
continued. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So recently, I came across with some mining professionals. They're geologists, and they use AI tools to estimate the reserves underneath the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does is that basically he just takes a couple of news releases from the mining company, and he enters those data into this tool, into the software, and he say he can actually quite accurate to estimate the
Mm-hmm.
reserve value of the mines. What do you think about this type of stuff? Like, how does this impact your profession, in your opinion?
Any extra tools will help. I mean, there's plenty of areas to go after and to see what the valuations are. I'm sure it'll help pinpoint which ones are worth looking more closely at. Because the reality is, until you've dug out the whole mine, you don't really know what was going to be there. Everything else is a guess in advance. And you just want to be getting a better and better guess until you decided where you're going to put down the $500 million.
Yeah.
So definitely worthwhile. That kind of a tool sounds going to play a great role in the spectral deposit reviews. The low satellite floats are going to be very useful there too. All kinds of technology developing. I could see that. And the other thing, like in the operations side, I could see a lot of AI tools, how to reduce energy consumption, how to increase throughput. We already have control systems in place. Just the more you have operators being able to use these tools would be useful.
But I wonder though, because like the foundational level layer is like it's all, nobody can start a foundational layer type of AI company anymore because it's so expensive. You require. But I wonder, your tool would be kind of like an editor layer. Will you say, Jay? Like how will you build an editor layer in incorporating this data from the mining? Like, how will you go about to do that?
I think all the technology needs to serve for a purpose, right? We need to know what's the real problem they're facing, like some sort of performance issue. You want to improve. What's the bottleneck in, let's say, operation in terms of our cost, and which one matters more, and the KPI you guys are looking at, revenue, or you want to just improve the performance, and then we can work on the solution. because it can do a lot of things. We cannot just do AI just for AI.
But Bogdan, like when you're looking at the mineral deposits,
Mhm.
are they random in the sense that it could be any elements just deposit in any geological formation or geological structure, or usually there's some sort of a correlationship between materials you're looking for to certain geological form. Like I'm not a geological engineer, but I'm just wondering what the basic knowledge of that is like.
Well, we know certain minerals associated with certain minerals.
Oh, really?
Gold
It's definitive?
Well, there's correlation.
But it's proven there's a correlation.
A lot of occurrences over a lot of areas, and there's different types of deposits. Now, we know chalcopyrite, a copper sulfide ore, tends to be associated with gold, and we'll tend to have a little bit of silver there too.
I see.
Zinc, lead minerals, and sulfides will have association with the high value goods as well. The nickel deposits in Sudbury, we know they have a lot of association with the gold as well as with platinum minerals too.
But is this a rule or knowledge can be universally applied to different assets, or it's just very specifically applied to a Sudbury?
No, right in the world we've seen a lot of these repeat. But then there's new theories coming out all the time as well. Like, for example, one theory out there right now is that a lot of gold that's landed on the earth has happened after the formation of the earth. That actually it's extraterrestrial impacts. Well, if you think about it, gold is very dense, very heavy. So when the earth was in the molten state, where would the heaviest minerals go? They would sink deep. So after formation, and a lot of those would have gone elsewhere, but somehow we still have a lot of gold on the surface. So it does kind of make sense that that's one of the sources, not the only one. The other thing we've seen is when you have a meteorite impact, you'll have a crack open up, or there'll be other reasons for cracks to open up within the earth that then have igneous solutions pass up through the crust, and again delivering gold from below. So it's a bit of both happening. Diamonds, extraterrestrial origin for them, but we know that they occur in certain areas, and we're looking more for certain differential erosion. So we have circular lakes, which are like slices of the carrot-shaped deposits of the kimberlite. If you cut a carrot along the top, you end up seeing a kind of circle of different sizes or ellipse. And it turns out the kimberlite that carries the diamond is a kind of softer rock, so it'll erode more and result in a kind of lake being formed, versus, and you got hard rock around it. So the deposits in South Africa, the deposits in Canada are very similar in that way. So those are some things that we kind of look at.
Okay, so is that definitely plausible? I think I should, if I want to learn more about it, I should look into it. It sounds like AI definitely could be a real good tool in identifying the density. I don't know, is that what you use word to describe it, or
mineral assembly,
deposits?
Yeah, I think that they might be able to play a role in some of that, especially depending how low you're flying.
Because it's about AI is about pattern recognition, right?
Right.
So if you feed it,
and you combine groundwork as well, so there'll be some correlate what your readings are saying to what's on the ground, because it could be different readings in different areas. You may have to kind of recalibrate, is what I'm kind of thinking. I've yet to see what the technology looks like, and remember, in my case, more on the processing side, but I've got exposure to the other sides too. That's definitely exploration geology that we're talking about.
Actually, this is something could be interesting. At one point, we were trying to get into Bitcoin. Oh yeah, right, and
the whole cryptosphere.
Yeah, and right now is cryptocurrencies are used as what do you call it? Like safe haven currency, or especially for people who live in volatile nations. But right now the gold prices has gone up so high. I heard the talk of that gold may be tomorrow's cryptocurrency.
Oh, that's a change of what we were talking about before.
Because gold's price has been gone up. It's trading at right now $3,800, $4,200.
But crypto is also like Bitcoin is up to about 163,000 as of yesterday.
Really?
Canadian.
I haven't thought. Okay, 163 Canadian. That's around 100,000 US, right?
And it was about 168 about 2-3 months ago. So it's at its kind of top end right now. Crypto as well. What it looks like in both cases, they both hold value.
Yeah.
And they're both going up as there's stability in the world, what I'm kind of saying right now. Whereas it used to be, you'd go to gold when there was instability in the world. So the reason for it is it's still kind of being verified, but there's definitely a lot more institutions investing in crypto, a lot more than they've ever been investing in the past. So they probably
But
will
more
continue,
people are buying gold too, right?
and more people are buying gold too.
Do you
Yeah.
buy any gold, Jay?
I bet a little bit
Buy
piece
gold?
of a little
Jewelry,
bit
I
of
guess it's
crypto.
jewelry. A bit of crypto. Yeah.
Okay, okay. She doesn't believe in gold.
Doesn't
She
believe
Well,
believes in
I believe,
crypto.
but it's getting always expensive, and I was like, oh, is it too high? It's getting higher and higher and higher.
Okay,
Yeah, they're
well,
both up pretty high.
yeah.
The story in the sector always used to be, you know, the gold is adequately priced when an ounce of gold will buy a good man's suit. That
Oh,
was the rule
okay.
of thumb out there. So right now at about
That's about right.
that's about right.
How much is the gold at an ounce?
38 in there.
You buy a nice suit.
A very nice suit.
Yeah,
Very
you buy a
suit.
nice suit. It's not the most
Expensive suits. I don't know.
if you wear that suit, you can still get investment banking.
Yeah, you would. You could do well.
A
Yes.
nice little watch and a nice little suit get you a job at investment
Yes.
banking.
Yeah. We'll throw in shoes and a belt.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But do
Okay,
you have a
cool.
lot of gold?
We don't talk
Talk about
the value hold. Yes, we do.
and I, we're hoping we can set up a fund to manage earth metals,
or
minerals
Minerals generally.
generally. So that's the goal. So we're on investment.
Looking at gold, it could be base metals, it could be
Yeah.
a variety of opportunities. And we're kind of looking to see that it's something past the exploration stage. So ideally,
Sure.
it's ready to put shovels in the ground, or there were shovels in the ground there before. There's a number of deposits where they did some mining, they worked on it, and now with the prices elevated, all of a sudden it's worth revisiting.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like in Canada, is mining business more adamant by the government, like overseen by the government?
There's a lot of rules and regulations by the government. Yes, there is.
I wouldn't call it government.
Well,
more like TSX.
there's permitting.
TMX.
No, you have to get
Okay,
permits.
permit is one thing.
That's
Sure.
what you're talking about with regulations, I guess.
Both, I guess.
Right.
Like mining regulations and also capital
Raising
raising regulations. There are things.
But it
So
is
how-
independent, like private.
Okay. So how it is
The-
to set up the fund and plus like adapt to any like potential new technology in this industry?
Well, first of all, I want to clarify on something I just said. We're not setting up a fund. We're setting up an investment company. There's a real difference. I think what you're referring to, in my understanding, is probably mostly about environmental issues. When you have a new technology, obviously it has to be environmentally
Mhm.
compliant.
You have to have a sinking fund for the tailings and remediation side of
yeah.
it. That's regulated very heavily.
Yeah.
New technologies, like there'll be new technologies on mining, on processing, but that's later on. So the engineering consulting companies will put a lot of that in place of how it'll be extracted and how it'll be processed.
Right.
I just wonder, is this business open to those new technologies, or is more reserved business, or
I
it takes
see.
longer time than?
Yeah.
I would say there's a whole lot of areas in the sector which are slow to change technology-wise. We're talking about large investments, and the investment providers, the banks, the investors, they tend to be very risk averse in terms of the initial funding to get things going. Once the mine is going, you increase efficiencies and you bring much more new technology in.
I see.
So when we're doing the designs and the engineering consulting projects, we rely on what's been in the past because of just how much money it's involved.
Definitely there's progress, but it's more of a incremental type of improvements. Very few new business processes are invented in this business, I think.
As compared to
Even
medical diagnostics.
medical diagnostics is slow. I think the fastest one is still
Pharmaceutical.
IT process.
Yeah.
It isn't that.
Yeah,
It isn't that.
But even information technology, I don't know. In terms of process improvement, I think it's becoming incremental now. It's not like 90s or 2000 or even you have a new idea on how to exchange data and it could be a thing. But right now, if you're just talking about exchanging data, there's all kinds of standards you have to follow. You can't really invent how you do a payment transaction anymore. But back in when Elon Musk did his PayPal, back then he could write whatever standard wanted to, but now you can't, right?
Because it's not new anymore.
No, it's not new anymore. Exactly. So AI, I don't know, not easy to start an AI company now because you need so much money only the big guys have that kind of money to build the foundational layer.
Well, I'm guessing applications of AI must be
Yeah.
relatively easy to build.
Yeah,
because
application is relatively
so
easy.
somebody's already got the groundwork in place. Now, how do you use it? So this is not the mining sector. The mining sector, like many other sectors right now, they're facing attract enough people as much as we need. There's always been a challenge attracting people, but it is especially true today. So if you can get AI to help multitask, help engineers do more jobs, help the operators do more jobs effectively. The control rooms don't need to be at the mine sites anymore. You could have the control rooms in Toronto operating a plant up in Baffin Island. That should be doable.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, right now, you have people that are going 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, flying in, flying out.
Yeah, but it's the cost of sending a person there versus investments. I blame all this on Facebook, because since the formation of a Facebook, it sucked up all the talents. It sucked up all the smartest people. Smart people for a very long time only work at social media company options, but I think Meta has become mature, so the employee don't get that much stock options anymore, unless you're doing AI, I think. But I think it will pass very quickly. Maybe this AI, what do you probably thought? Yeah, probably another 2 years. What do you think?
Years.
Whether it's gotten stable?
I think AI it's gonna be last longer than definitely 2 years.
Oh, yeah, but the boom.
Whether it'll keep rising.
Oh, okay. You mean it's gonna hit a plateau?
Yeah.
I think it's
like it'll still continue to grow, but exponential growth is a challenge to maintain.
Yeah, but I think there's still a lot of room that can be improved in the foundational layer, and like hardware, infrastructure, and I think there are still a lot of things that can happen.
I think I feel that way. It's just very few organizations can afford what I'm saying, because it just costs so much money. You have to raise so much capital.
Power costs. I mean, Microsoft has to buy a nuclear plant to keep feeding the AI development they're doing.
Yeah.
They're reactivating.
I think Meta is building a data center. Basically, it will consume half of United States electricity. So I don't know how are they going to find the electricity to
more nuclear plants and uranium. Time to invest in uranium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe there's some way to reduce the energy spend, like on those, foundational, like the DeepSeek in China, the Chinese foundational model. They actually, the structure they adopt is very smart. The way they were structured, they don't require a lot of energy at a time, at least. So the bandwidth they require is not as significant. So
That's interesting, because if I look at digital technology in the last 30 years, it's never really their concern. They just ignore. Like you look at processor,
like the key example of that, the amount of energy that was being consumed, it would overheat a house, the amount of energy that the ant miners would use up.
Them from doing it. So it will be interesting to see how it play out.
Feedback. Sir.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure talking to you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being our first guest.
Have a wonderful day. Good talking to you.